This week, the world has been surprised by the China new AI model called DeepSeek. Instead of we being distracted by this news, let's focus on our main goal, which to build ourselves and make our life a little better each day. In this video, I'll be sharing with you guys how I self-taught myself to learn to code. I landed my first tech job in 2022, but to give more context, let's go back to 2017. So at this time, I just had my 2 years experience working in a construction. I'm a junior project engineer, and in the same time, I have an Airbnb business, but we'll save that story for another time. Me and two of my friends will hang out in McDonald's, and we were brainstorming about what business that we want to do. And one of my friends said that since they are trending about building a mobile application, I have an idea that how about we build Tinder for sport, meaning that it's a matchmaking application for people who want to play sport. I just raised my eyebrows and just agreed, okay, let's do it. I'm a type of person that love to execute first without thinking further. I start to draw a timeline, start discussing about the features in that cafe, and I invest my own money to buy a book on how to learn Java because we decide to build it using Android Studio because we realize that most of the traffic for mobile application is accessible in Android compared to iOS at that time. So we decide to, okay, we do native, let's build on Java Android Studio. I've started buying the Java for Dummy, if I'm not mistaken. Cost me around, I think, $40, $50. I started install the Android Studio. I have no idea about what HTML, CSS. I don't really expect that it's actually more than that. I start looking into Firebase, start playing around with it. As I go deep, I'll start learn about the architecture like MVP. So all this I learned along the way, but it's very hard for me when it comes to code because I straight up want to build the application. I don't learn the fundamental. Long story short, the project was never complete and the efforts is mostly me alone. Two of my friends giving up halfway and they start being distracted. So yeah, but the app was never go live, but I still have the repo with me in 2018. It was my first repo that I pushed to GitHub. After that, I continue do what I'm doing, the Airbnb and work in a construction as a project engineer. The coding never left me. It still inspires me because of the ideas of create something from nothing, and it's stuck with me ever since. But I left the mobile application. I start to put interest into game development because I love to play games, especially RPG or a single player game. I said to myself that since it's very hard to work in a team because not everyone have the same passion as you, so why don't you pick up one project, one software that you are passionate to build and you do it alone. I start to imagine what kind of video game that I want to build. I decided to build an isometric RPG game because I really love Final Fantasy Tactics. And for me, it's the game that I repeatedly play the most. It have very solid story and music and lesson. To cut it short, it really hooks me up. So it's been my most favorite game in my whole life. So I want to replicate that because I'm inspired. So I start to look into the game engine available to build because I don't believe I can build a dedicated game engine specifically for that idea that I want to build. I don't have the fundamental of building an engine. As I was searching for the game engine, I found Unreal and Unity. Unreal looks cool, but somehow I feel it's kinda overkill. Then I decided to learn Unity because of the support. Because if you build your own engine, you have to configure yourself when you do deployment on other platforms. And at that time, if I'm not mistaken, if your game is not making $100,000, it's free for you to use the software. I don't even think that my game will blow up and and get a million download. But the hope is there because I always do try something new. I don't like to do same things every day. And in the same time, because along the way I was searching for the tools that I want to build for my video game, I come across this video about Stardew Valley, and I'm inspired with the story that he alone built a video game for I think 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, alone, like everything, asset, coding, deployment, scripting, storytelling, game mechanic. It's like, wow, he's alone, but then he make millions. So that's inspired me. So again, long story short, the game was never finished because I planned very poorly, and I didn't expect that game is not just really about coding. Game involves so many things. It's even harder than build a web or mobile application. Game is even more challenge. You need to understand about the physics. You need to understand about math. You need to understand about enemy interaction. I don't say that I am not passionate, but I'm saying that it's too much because at that time I'm already married and I have a job and business in the same time, but still no excuse. So I drop it. I play around with the Unity and build some few concepts. I built a 2D games, 2D isometric RPG game. That's it. For me, the hardest part is not coding. For me, the hardest part is building an asset. And each asset, I have to keep refining it so that it become closer to my ideas. I can do it, but not at that current situation where I don't have any fun. I have to manage my time, spending time with family, spending time with my work. So even though I drop it, I still want to build at least one video game in my life. It's not going to be now, but it's one of my bucket list, maybe along the way as I build this channel, and perhaps maybe I can start. I have an idea, but I don't want to start it yet. So I drop it. So then I continue my work, and it started with 2019. And as I were working as a project engineer, I've realized that I felt that I've been doing the same thing, and I hate my environment where it's very nasty. And as you know, working in a construction field, it's not sitting in an office with an air conditioner. It was literally standing under the sun with a lot of hazards surrounding the environment. The friend that you hang out with not really talk about something productive. To summarize, it's a negative conversation, which I personally not interested with, and it's been bottling up in my heart that I cannot do this anymore. The thing is, that job I made good money. But now I understand, even though you make decent amount of income, but if it doesn't fit your character, which is, for example, like me, I love to learn new things. Money isn't the anchor of everything. I'm a type of person that I want to push myself. If I could be the best, if I could ever push myself, am I going to be as strong as Captain America? I mean, you know what I mean, right? I don't like to be secure. I don't like to be stable. I want to keep on growing. I want to keep doing new stuff. So that is my core character. I love to talk about critical stuff. I'm that type of person. I love that kind of conversation. But it's very hard to find that kind of network. At that point of time in my current job, I couldn't find anyone that have similarities. And COVID changed it all. After 6 months, since the beginning of COVID, then my country allowed certain sector, especially construction, to be able to continue to work. When I start to work again, and I'm slowly become complacent and comfortable with my current job, but I'm still have interest towards coding. I still look into the videos and coding content. The trigger point is actually in the early 2022. It was one night where I have to inspect the water tank, which is very tall, around 30 meters tall. I equip myself with the safety harness, and then when I get on top, I need to inspect. But while I'm climbing the ladder, one of the ladder was broke. Literally, I'm falling, but lucky I follow the procedure where I need to hook my lanyard. So then I was hanging. Then rescue team start to pull me up. My heartbeat was like 180 and 200. I was panicking because it was a split-second incident. If I don't follow the safety procedure that night, I fall and I won't see my wife in the next day. While I was resting in my car, I have a deep thought about, are you going to do this every day? Because once you make mistake, you are done. You are done. Once you make a mistake and it costs your freaking life, you are done and you won't able to see your wife tomorrow. At that very moment, I drove back home. I go to my wife and I start talk to her, that explain about what happening. And I said to her that I cannot do this anymore. I know we're making bucks, but I don't think it's worth it. And I talked to my wife, I'm going to become a software developer. As a junior developer, definitely our income is going to drop like 50%, because who wants to hire a 32-year-old man as a junior developer unless you lowball yourself to the company during the interview? And my wife really understood and she agreed. And then the journey begins. February 2022, I mainly use FreeCodeCamp just to understand the HTML and CSS. I learned React.js, and after complete, I face again the devil that I faced before. I call the procrastination devil. At this time, I said to myself, you just need to learn enough and start find a job. And that's what I'm telling myself. I think after 1 week of applying, I land an interview. I go through the interview. They ask me a few basic questions about coding and what's my previous career. And after that, they give me like assignment. I mean, it's a very simple assignment where I need to do a to-do list app. When I'm done, they ask me about what's your potential salary, and I said this amount. And then he said that you are a junior, we cannot give you this amount, so we can give you this amount. And I already knew it, because it's the only way that I can enter this industry is by lowballing the salary, but still I can survive with my current commitment. November 2022, I land my first job as a front-end web developer, mainly using React, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and then the rest is history. That is the backstory of how I become a software developer. So I hope that this video inspire you, to those who want to self-taught yourself out from your current job. And I know your struggle. And what I'm going to say is that do not listen to the devil. Keep on going. You don't have to be ready. You just need to complete the course and build one portfolio. It doesn't have to be perfect. I guarantee you, if you keep applying and you not give up, what I mean not give up is that if you apply 100 jobs and you don't get a single interview, keep going. You will fail landing a job once you stop applying. If you apply 1,000 applications and you don't find any, keep going. Because you want to change your career, you need to have this alpha mindset where you do whatever it takes. In my case, it costs my life if I continue to do my current job. So in your case, maybe something else, or maybe the same as me. So you need to do whatever it takes to get where you want to be. And I can assure you, it's freaking worth it. Because you just acquire one of the superpower to build something out of nothing that was called coding. Alright guys, I'll be sharing more in the next video. So please leave a comment of whatever that you want to do or an advice that you want me to share. and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.